Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Good evening. Welcome to Kardec Radio. This is the 6 p.m. daily prayer program. My name is Teresa Castro, and I am the host for the Sunday evening 6 p.m. prayer. Welcome. So glad to be here with all of you. And before our prayer, we have a message from Emmanuel from the book Light Ahead. So this book is a compilation of messages from several different spirits out of several different books. Hello, Betsy. How are you? Welcome. Nice to have you here. And the name of this chapter is entitled Difficulties. It's chapter 15 in case you have the book. And so here's what Emmanuel says to us. There's a possibility that you've awakened to a new faith under enormous difficulties. You may be under the impression that you are gasping for air within a thicket of troubles. The first step to be taken towards self-liberation is not to focus on crises and obstacles, but rather to overcome them honorably by applying oneself to dignifying work. Hi, Tony Torres. Thank you for signing in. It's nice to have you here. So we are reading from the book Light Ahead, chapter 15. And this message is from Emmanuel, and of course, psychographed by Chico. So the first step, he tells us, is self-liberation, applying oneself to dignifying work in dealing with difficulties. He goes on to say, the divine wisdom grants us the blessings of trials in the form of experiences so that we can overcome them and assimilate them, never intending to confuse us or to throw us into dismay. If you are ill, ponder the lesson provided to you, making use of it for your spiritual edification, being the example to everyone who assists you, and don't stray into excesses or irritation under the pretense that you suffer more than others or that you don't have long to live. Hey, Nora. Hi, Abby. Thank you for signing in. Hello, ladies. So, if you find yourself in poverty, don't blame others for your present state, nor revolt against the advantages that favor others. Instead, stand up spiritually and work hard so that your diligence in the performance of your own obligations may provide you with new opportunities for rehabilitation and progress. Accept the cooperation of others because we all need each other's understanding and help. However, establish your own means of support. Don't assume you can continuously enjoy benefits that you didn't earn. The light of a friend may illuminate your path for a while, but if you want to overcome the domain of shadows for good, you must have your own source of light. Obstacles are renewing challenges. Listening to them and using them to our own benefit is an obligation that life assigns to us. And that's by Emmanuel. So this message was in regards to difficulties. And so if I'm able, I would like to just talk a little bit more in depth about this message. So here we go. forget the share. Oh no, that's Nora. Nora's saying she can't hear either. So I think I'm just going to stop this share. Can you hear now? No audio. I'm sorry, on my end, it says that there's plenty of audio. So, oh boy. Yes, yes. Now I'm hearing yes, yes. Yes, yes, you can hear? I can hear now. Oh, good. Yay. All right. So that share the screen didn't work. And I don't know, I didn't do something right. I've done this before, but not for a while. So, okay. So anyway, now it's okay. Thank you, John DeRosa, and hello. So what Emmanuel was talking to us about, just a quick recap, was about difficulties. And so what we know, difficulties are the vicissitudes of life, the difficult circumstances. And the word vicissitudes, V-I-C, the beginning, is a Latin root meaning to turn or to change. And so this, we can come to understand that difficulties in life, that's what they're there for, right? To help us to turn, to change. And we should also remember the spirits are very clear to tell us that we often confuse cause and effect, and that difficulties in our life are effects. They're not causes, they are effects. And if we don't understand in this life why we have this difficulty, perhaps it's from a prior life. And so what are these causes are our behaviors and our character, either in this life or another life. So pride, selfishness, vanity, lack of restraint. These are some of the causes for these struggles we are facing now. And even Kardec asks the spirits, why should we progress through difficulty? Like, why be so unhappy? Why? And the answer is because we receive merit as we overcome it, and God wills it that way. So basically what we're looking at when we think about difficulties is we are looking at the law of cause and effect, okay? Because this effect of having difficulties isn't by chance. It doesn't just come by itself. So for every cause, there is an effect. And for every effect, there is a cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for a law that is not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. All right? So let us remember Thank you, Bruce. Yes, thank you. I agree with you. No, it's not. But we understand the law of cause and effect. For every cause, there is an effect. I agree with you. It's not for us to judge or to play judge of other people. So we can only look at ourselves. So then what we can see from this reading about difficulties is that Emmanuel is giving us some suggestions, and what he's saying is how we can suffer well. So we have these difficulties, and not only how we can suffer well, but how we can overcome them. He actually gives us pointers on helping us to deal with these difficulties. And one of the things that is interesting, if we look at the chapter according to Spiritism, the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 5, number 18, the spirit Lacordaire suggests, instead of the beatitude that says, "Blessed are the afflicted, for they shall be consoled," he suggests that we can also translate this as, "Blessed are we who have the opportunity to test our faith, our firmness, perseverance, and submission to God's will." So that's beautiful. It adds a much lighter, much more positive, optimistic empowering, encouraging to us instead of, oh, woe is me, we have to suffer in all these difficulties. So then, just to recap some of the pointers that Emmanuel shares with us. Number one is he says, the first step to be taken towards self-liberation when we have these difficulties is, he says, apply oneself to dignifying work. And we all know that the spirits tell us that any useful occupation is work. And it's the path to freedom. It really helps. It stimulates our intelligence, and it gives us the opportunity to, make reparations and be a positive, or add to society, to be helpful, to be of service. And then Leon Denis makes an important point in his book, After Death, is he says that we really need to overcome this obligation to work principle. And he's encouraging that we should, as we elevate, be able to work for the sake of serving, for pleasure, to serve without reward. So we're really not there yet, but we'll get there. We're moving there. We're coming to see that wealth, money, that's all short, temporary. And when we help somebody else, the contentment we feel and joy is really lasting. Okay, thank you, Bruce. Yes, if one embraces the pain, it will be clarified for our purification and enlightenment. And that's pretty much what Emmanuel is emphasizing here, that they are for our good and they help us as we face these difficulties and overcome them. And like you said, not feel that we're being punished or we're bad, but rather we have some wreckage to clear, that these are effects of things we've done in the past. Okay, so then the next thing Emmanuel tells us is that the divine wisdom grants us the blessings of trials in the form of experiences. And so here we see that Emmanuel is telling us, redefine difficulty. He says, he calls it blessings of trials. He calls it renewing challenges. He calls it opportunities. So there's another pointer for us. Another one is, he says, if he talks about if you're ill, he says, ponder the lesson provided to you. So here we can see that he's encouraging us to ask, what is the lesson here for me? What am I to learn by this difficulty? In this message, he's talking about illness, but this really can apply to any difficulty. What am I to learn here? What am I to be shown? What do I need to change? And then he goes on to talk about, if you find yourself in poverty and struggling, and we know from the Spirit's book that wealth and poverty are definitely trials in life. And usually poverty can stimulate complaining, and wealth can stimulate all kinds of excesses. So what Emmanuel tells us here is, instead of complaining or blaming somebody else or the government or somebody else for our situation, is again, he tells us to work and be of service to others, because this is the right way to handle. If you have money, to be of service, to share that, to help other people. And if you don't have money, then to not complain, but to work, because as Chico has said to us, we can make a better future for ourselves, right? By, instead of making things worse for ourselves, complaining and blaming and being negative, we can take a more positive approach. And then he goes on to say, accept the cooperation of others. And we know from Thought and Life, from Emmanuel in another book, he tells us that the best formula for our readjustment is the one who helps others will themselves be helped. And so he says, this is the best formula to help us readjust. And he also says that the only way that we're going to get rid of deprivation, where nobody is deprived of anything, is us collaborating and working together as a whole. Because as we work separately, there's always going to be someone who is deprived or, gets the short end of the stick, so to speak. But he says you need to establish your own means of support. And so we can see here that basically he's telling us, carry your own cross, right? And we know even Jesus, when Simon of Cyrene helped Jesus with his cross, in the end, it was Jesus who had to carry the cross, the whole way, the rest of the way, and mount the cross on Calvary. No one could step in for him. We also see that again in the Garden of Gethsemane, when the apostles couldn't stay awake to pray with him. That wasn't by chance. Jesus had to face that alone, so to speak. And so we too, we can't expect other people to do our work, and we can't do the work for other people. Yes, we can help each other, but push comes to shove, the rubber hits the road, we need to do our own work. And then he says, but if you want to overcome the domain of shadows for good, you must have your own source of light. And here we can see that Emmanuel is telling us we have to have a moral compass to steer by, okay? That, and like Jesus has said many times in the Bible, those who are in the dark stumble and fall. So we need to have a direction, we need to have a rudder to steer by, right? And so it's this, the two wings, educating ourselves, our intelligence, but also our morality is practicing virtues rather than vices. And then the last one, he says, obstacles are renewing challenges. Listening to them and using them to our own benefit is an obligation that life assigns to us. And so we know when we hear that word obligation, we can think of duty, which has to do with our moral duty. And so how can we best do that? Is to self-examine, is to look at ourselves, see what our life is about, and then we can figure out what we are here to do, what is our part in being a co-creator with God, right? What is our part in making the universe better? And we know, and we're told in both the Gospel and the Spirit's book, that as we overcome our vices and as we change ourselves, we are helping to change the planet that we live on, which is a way that we help in the mission of God's work with the universe. So we all have that brick, so to speak, that we're responsible for in the building of God's creation. And Nova Hodgkinson says, embracing my lessons every day with faith and love, and every new day I feel more empowered and more committed to my role with God. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful thing to share. Okay, so now that we've had this message about difficulties, and we can come to see that difficulties are really opportunities for us to elevate and to overcome and to make reparation, right? To atone for those things we have done. So let us contemplate this message, let it wash over us. And as we do so, we'll close our eyes and we will go into our prayer. We calm our body, we calm our minds, and we visualize coming together, holding hands, forming a big circle, elevating our thoughts, and connecting with those spirits on high who have been present during this session and who continue to support and inspire us with goodness. We thank you. Eternal Creator, we thank you for all the blessings you continue to deliver our way. May we be receptive to receiving this love and light and to share with our brothers and sisters, reflecting you. We are grateful for Emmanuel and Chico, Kardec, Leon Denis, all those spirits who have contributed to tonight's message. And we'd like to send prayers to our brothers and sisters who were not able to join us this evening. Let us take a moment and pray for those who are facing some harsh trials, whether physical, mental, spiritual, that they be receptive to receiving the courage and strength to continue to persevere and be softly inspired that they are not alone. And as we know, there are always many spirits around us. And as we continue to do the good, think the good, mold the good, we attract those good spirits. Who can assist us when we can feel those moments of despair, loneliness, negative, pessimism. Let us elevate our thoughts and continue along our path, knowing that God remains acting. Let us pray for our leaders of our country and other countries, that they may be inspired and choose to do the good for the greater whole of humanity. We thank you for this prayer moment, and we ask for your blessing and protection as we close this prayer session, and so be it. Thank you all for joining this prayer program, and I hope to see you again next Sunday. So let us go forward into our week, recognizing our difficulties and remembering the messages, and see what is it I can do to overcome this difficulty. Can I work? Can I help somebody else? And can I redefine this? Can I see this as a blessing instead of as a difficulty? So we are ever so grateful for this message. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you all have a great week. Please be safe, be healthy, and help somebody else. God bless. See you next week.